From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebow. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe says he's looking forward to robust conversations with Prime Minister Mark Carney and the other premiers when they meet in person in Saskatoon early next month. Moe's comments came after a virtual First Ministers meeting yesterday. A statement from the Prime Minister's office said Ottawa and the premiers agreed to accelerate project approvals, while Carney aims to table federal legislation to eliminate interprovincial trade barriers by Canada Day. Ontario's Doug Ford says there is growing interest among premiers in signing memorandums of understanding to free up internal trade.
Who's coming up in the batting cage? PEI, Saskatchewan. Hopefully, I just text Scott right now and said, hey, let's sign that deal. Even Danielle, we're texting back and forth, and she wants to sign an MOU too.
Meanwhile, Yukon Premier Ranj Pillay is stepping down as leader of the Territorial Liberal Party. He says he will not be running for re-election later this year. As the Second World War came to a close, Canada pulled itself away from British orbit, firmly planting itself in a North American compact that drove prosperity for much of the Western world for decades. But as Canadians mark 80 years since victory in Europe, an increasingly unstable world has Canada looking back to the continent as a way to preserve peace and prosperity. Defense analyst Christian Leuprecht says Ottawa gained much by partnering with the U.S. and by building up global institutions.
We invested in financial institutions, security and military institutions such as NATO, international institutions such as the United Nations, precisely to make the world a better, more stable place. And you might say that strategy paid off handsomely.
The family of a pilot who died during the Second World War after his plane crashed in the United Kingdom wants his last act to be recognized by the Canadian government.
Pilot Officer William Stewart McMullen was flying a Lancaster bomber over a densely populated British town in January 1945 when it caught fire midair. He steered that plane away from Darlington toward an empty field and ordered his 6 crew members to parachute themselves to safety. The Scarborough native is honored in the British town every year. A street was named after him and a plaque at the local hospital bears his name. But he never got widespread renown here in Canada for the act of bravery that ultimately claimed his life. Rob Westgate, the Canadian Press.
Cardinals are returning to the Sistine Chapel this morning for a second day of voting for a new pope. Reporter Maggie Bruley tells us not only is betting on the next pope a tradition that dates back hundreds of years, it has taken on a modern twist with fantasy pope games popping up.
Not only do you make your team of cardinals with your captain cardinal who's going to win it all, but you also pick things that might happen. So you choose the first words that the Pope is going to say to the public. You choose the Pope's name. You choose how many smokes it's going to take till we get to the next Pope.
This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Toronto Maple Leafs held on for a 4-3 win over the defending champion Florida Panthers in Game 2 of their second-round NHL playoff series. Toronto has a 2-0 edge now in the best-of-7 showdown. Joseph Woll got the start in net for Toronto with regular starter Anthony Stolarz out with an injury. Leafs forward Mitch Marner, who got the game winner, says the team has loads of confidence in both goalies.
There's never any worry with either guy in net, and Joe showed it again tonight why he's one of the best.
Dallas has drawn first blood in their second-round series with the Winnipeg Jets. Mikko Rantanen scored a natural hat trick in the second period, and the Stars beat the Jets 3-2. In the Professional Women's Hockey League playoffs, the Toronto Scepters downed the defending champion Minnesota Frost 3-2 in Game 1 of their best-of-5 series, and the Toronto Blue Jays lost a heartbreaker in Anaheim. Jorge Soler drove in 3 runs with a double in the 9th, and the Angels topped the Blue Jays 5-4. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebow.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.